President of the General Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, Head of States and Government, Mr. Secretary General, Madam Assistant Secretary General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before any remarks, I would like to take this opportunity to honor the memory of my compatriot, Amadou Maktambo, who just left us, former General Director of UNESCO from 1974 to 1987. He was a distinguished statesman and a fervent Pan-African actor in the fight for independence. I congratulate Mr. Fili Munyang for his election to the presidency of the United Nations General Assembly and its predecessor for the contribution to the implementation of our agenda. Through you, I express my wish of success in the conduct of our work. I also welcome the constant commitment of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, whose effort to promote peace, human dignity, and multilateralism is more than ever needed. Senegal renewed its full support for its mission at this time of war turbulence. By speaking out today, I stand by a deep conviction of unity in diversity and a key to ensure sustainable development and human dignity for all, everywhere in the world. This present theme of the session, who guides our discussion, invite us to rethink our collective responsibilities and ensure the United Nations fundamental principles defined nearly 8 years ago continues to carry the promise of a fair and more equitable world. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a troubled world where the principles of the Charter of the United Nations, which advocates for equality, justice, and respect for human rights, are put into question. Every day, conflicts spread, inequalities are growing. Climate change worsens the vulnerability of millions of people across the world. What we are witnessing is a worsening question of multilateralism at a time when humanity needs the world the most. The world must face itself without compromising. The values we have sworn to defend are trampled in several regions of the globe, be it in Gaza, Tel Aviv, in Dakar, or elsewhere. Every human being is a carrier of this equal dignity, this dignity that transcends borders, cultures, and religious membership. It is our duty to ensure that this dignity is protected and respected for every human being without exception. This duty is the essence of the United Nations. Yet we see every day that international law, the pillar of a peaceful world, is often violated. Resolutions adopted by this assembly are often ignored. By tolerating this repeated violence, we trampled on the principles of the Charter of the United Nations and undermine the very foundation of this house, which is peace. Never has the foundation of the United Nations waved so much in violence and fear of uncertainty at this time. If we want to move away the spectrum of war and work towards the advent of a better hand, it is time to change the paradigms. It's time to put humanity at the center of international agenda, as we see in the theme of this session. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to close our eyes anymore on the unfolding tragedy in the Sahel. Terrorist groups saw terror and killed innocent civilian populations. This once stable region is now faced with daily violence, while the United Nations, In particular, the Security Council remains too often silent. So, we cannot accept that the Sahel becomes a theater of foreign powers rivalries, whose clashes aggravate the destabilization of the region. I must recall here that the peace and security of Africa are inseparable from world peace. It is imperative that the Security Council fully fulfills its roles as the guarantor of international stability. I express once more the concern of Senegal over the tragic situation which continues in Palestine. Entire generations have lived there and grow up under the shadows of oppression, deprived of their fundamental rights to a viable state. Senegal, being the president of the Committee for the Exercise of Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian people, calls for an immediate and sustainable ceasefire. We reiterate our support for a two-state solution, with Jerusalem being the capital of Palestine in accordance with the resolution of the United Nations. This war, which spares neither women nor children nor vital infrastructures, is an open scar on international awareness. It is imperative that international humanitarian law is restored in all conflict zones and that United Nations play fully the role of mediator and guarantor of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is also the possibility for every human being to live with dignity, feeding, find accommodations, educated, and to receive care. Today, more than 750 million people do not eat to their satisfaction, and millions fall every day in extreme poverty. These figures are increasingly moving away from the World Development Goals fixed for 2030. We can no longer accept that global governance mechanisms continue to reproduce this inequality. It is time to break this logic so that everyone can and build a global new contract based on solidarity and cooperation. This contract must include major reforms to tackle the political and economic challenges and environmental issues of our time. Firstly, it is imperative to safeguard and strengthen multilateralism as a unique action framework for peace and international security. This requires urgent reform of global institutions, notably the Security Council, the IMF, and the World Bank, so that it is more inclusive and that it reflects the geopolitical and current economic realities. African continent in particular must have an important place, for instance, in decision making. Secondly, it is time to correct the economic injustice which slows down the development of many countries in the South. Illegal trade, tax evasion, illicit financial flow, and abusive tax measures, which are driving countries into development crisis, particularly in Africa. This injustice must be corrected to allow all countries to fully participate in global trade and benefit from economic growth. Thirdly, it is essential to guarantee with determination and to act with determination against global warming while respecting the principles of common and differentiated responsibilities. Industrialized countries who are historically responsible for massive greenhouse gas emission must intensify their efforts to finance a fair energy and equitable transition, which does not penalize countries in development. We must imperatively protect our planet without sacrificing the rights of the most vulnerable nations to continue their development. Fourthly, it is necessary to break all attempts to impose standard unilateral civilization. Since independence, Senegal has always defended equal dignity, culture, and civilization. This diversity must be the basis of peaceful coexistence between people. No nation should impose on others its practice or its values as a universal standard. Respect for differences is the foundation of stability and peace in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Senegal is firmly committed to this path. We have chosen to build a resolute state focused on sustainable development with ambitious initiatives in areas such as clean energy, food sovereignty, and transparent governance. But we know that to succeed, we need collective action and international solidarity. No country as powerful can meet the challenges of humanity alone. We must therefore act together, united in diversity, to build a future where human dignity is respected, where justice prevails, and where prosperity is shared. It is through cooperation and mutual respect that we will overcome the crisis that shakes our world. Thank you for your kind attention. Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa without borders. Africa, continental free trade area. The time is now. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.